Can heroes emerge from the shadows of gods? On Mars, an ancient alien warlord stirs as artifacts of power are unearthed. Dive into a story of courage and innovation, where the past and future collide in a breathtaking saga. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. Celestial Struggle. Let the story begin. Red dust swirled around the base of Olympus Mons, focused beams from headlamps cutting through the Martian twilight. The hum of machinery and the murmur of voices filled the air as the human expedition team set up camp. Emery Halloran adjusted her oxygen mask, her eyes gleaming with the adventurous spirit that had drawn her to this barren world. As a renowned archaeologist with NASA-turned-astronaut, this mission was her dream realized. "Careful with that probe, Mike," Emery said, watching a young engineer fumble with a piece of equipment. "We can't afford to damage any of this ancient tech." Mike, with a sheepish grin, fixed the probe and gave Emery a thumbs up. "Sorry, Doc, it's just, this place gives me the chills." Emery chuckled. "It's just another dig site, only a bit farther from home." The rest of the team, a mix of seasoned astronauts and engineers, moved with precision. They were aware that any mistake on the unforgiving surface of Mars could be fatal. Emery's focus shifted to the cavern's entrance, a dark maw leading into the heart of the planet's mysteries. "Ready to step into the abyss?" came a voice behind her. Captain Alan Reyes, a sturdy man with a grizzled beard, joined her side. He was the mission's leader, seasoned by years navigating the cold, unfeeling void of space. "We've got one shot," Emery replied, her voice tinged with excitement. "Let's make it count," Alan said, his eyes reflecting her enthusiasm. With a nod, they ventured into the cavern, lights illuminating alien symbols etched into the walls. Emery traced her gloved fingers over the markings, ancient and cryptic, indicators of a civilization far advanced. "This doesn't match any Martian scripts we've seen," Emery noted, her breath fogging her visor. "Nope, it's something else entirely," Alan agreed, his hand resting on his sidearm. Safety first, always. The team advanced slowly, their steps measured, echoes of their footfalls bouncing back in eerie reverberation. The tunnel widened into a chamber, vast and awe-inspiring. Emery's heart raced. Here she felt history, ancient and powerful, pressing down on her shoulders. "There!" Mike pointed towards a pedestal. On it lay a stone, pulsating with a faint blue glow. Emery approached cautiously. "This could be it, the Aegis. Legends spoke of its power, but I never thought—" Her words trailed off as she reached out, her gloved hand trembling. Alan kept a watchful eye, his concern masked by professional detachment. "Just be careful." A soft click echoed through the chamber as Emery lifted the stone. The ground beneath them vibrated, the walls humming with an eerie resonance. "What did you do?" Alan demanded, hand tightening around his weapon. "I think I activated something," Emery replied, her focus entirely on the artifact. Suddenly the cavern lit up, symbols glowing, lines connecting to form glyphs. A holographic figure materialized, towering before them, a being with an aura of supreme authority, garbed in ornate armor. "Humans have returned," the figure intoned, its voice resonating through the chamber. "Crona will awaken." "Crona," Mike whispered, fear evident in his voice. But Emery was already piecing it together. A warlord from an ancient race. This isn't just a dig site, it's a vault. The hologram turned its gaze towards Emery, as though noticing her for the first time. "Bearer of the Aegis, you hold the key to its power. Use it wisely, for Crona's return means war." The magnitude of their discovery settled in. Emery could feel the weight of history and the future converging upon her. She knew they had stumbled upon something far grander than just an archaeological find. The fate of not just Mars, but humanity itself might rest in their hands. "Pack it up," Alan ordered, his voice steady despite the tension. "We need to get back to the base and inform Earth." As they retraced their steps, the shadows deepened, and the Martian night seemed more foreboding. Holding the Aegis, Emery felt a strange connection, a hint of the power lying dormant within her, and the legacy she was just beginning to uncover. Descending deeper into the labyrinthine tunnels of the ancient outpost, Emery's mind raced with questions. The Aegis stone pulsed gently against her glove, an almost rhythmic beat resonating through her bones. "Do you feel that?" Emery asked Alan, her voice echoing off the ancient walls. Feel what? Alan responded, his eyes scanning the dark path ahead. This vibration. It's like the stone is alive, Emery replied, holding out her hand to show the faint glow pulsing from the aegis. Captain Allen frowned but simply nodded, his soldier instincts keeping his thoughts guarded. Soon they reached a circular chamber, bigger than any they had encountered before. The walls were lined with alien hieroglyphs, each glowing with the same blue luminescence as the aegis. Ancient machinery lay dormant, waiting for a spark of life. Whoa, Mike said, his eyes wide with wonder and fear. This place is incredible. It's like a command center, observed Jenna, the mission's tech specialist. She had been quiet until now, her gaze fixed on the control panels stretching across one wall. We should document this. Emery nodded, her focus shifting to the console in the chamber's center. She hesitated, then placed the aegis stone into a corresponding slot. The machinery roared to life, the symbols on the walls flashing rapidly. Accessing records, a mechanical voice intoned, startling them. Holographic screens flickered, displaying scenes from a time long gone. Aliens, tall and regal, stood in council. Battles raged through the cosmos. Crona, Emery whispered, watching the visage of the Warlord leading a charge against dissenters. Looks like he wasn't just any leader, Alan said, his voice hard. He was a tyrant. As the holograms continued to narrate the story of civil war, a hum arose from the tunnels, growing louder and more urgent. We need to get this information back to Earth, Alan decided, turning to Mike and Jenna. Gather what you can. We don't have much time. Emery stepped away from the console, her mind weaving through the ancient tales of power and betrayal. She couldn't shake the feeling that the Aegis chose her, whispered secrets of her lineage entwined with these alien overlords. Emery, Alan called out, breaking her reverie, we've got company. From the shadows emerged sleek, black-shelled drones with flashing red sensors. Alien in design, they seemed to pulse with a sinister life. Secure the area, Alan commanded, drawing his weapon. The team formed a defensive perimeter, their training kicking in instinctively. The drones moved swiftly, their mechanical agility eerie. Emery's breath quickened, her hand instinctively reaching towards the aegis stone. There was a wave of energy, a connection sparking between her and the dormant power of the stone. Everyone, stay back, she shouted, stepping forward. The aegis began to glow brighter, blue light enveloping her. The drones hesitated, their movements faltering. Emery, what are you doing? Jenna yelled, her voice tinged with fear and awe. I think I can control them, Emery replied, her voice echoing with newfound determination. She focused on the nearest drone, willing the energy of the aegis towards it. The drone paused, then turned its sensors off, going dark. One by one, the drones shut down, collapsing to the floor with metallic clangs. The team stood in stunned silence. Did you just do that? Mike asked, his eyes wide in disbelief. Emery nodded, still feeling the residual energy coursing through her veins. It's the aegis. It's like it knows me. Alan stepped forward, his expression a mix of concern and admiration. We need to get you and that stone back to the ship. There's a lot we don't understand, but I'll be damned if I let those things get you. They hurried back through the labyrinth, the shadows now seeming less menacing. Emery felt the weight of the aegis, not just physically, but with the responsibility it carried. It was more than a relic. It was a link to an ancient past and potentially a key to protecting their future. As they emerged from the tunnels into the pale Martian light, the horizon shimmered with potential threats and promises. Emery knew their journey was far from over, but for the first time, she felt like she held the power to face whatever awaited them. The Martian landscape stretched out before them, barren and cold, as Emery and her team emerged from the ancient tunnels. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the red dunes. There was an urgency in their movements, each step weighed down by the gravity of their discovery. Base camp is just over that ridge, Alan said, squinting into the distance. His voice had a steadying effect, keeping the team focused. Emery could feel the aegis pulsing in her backpack, a constant reminder of the power she now bore. Questions churned in her mind, but there was no time for reflection. They needed to regroup and send their findings to Earth. Keep up the pace, people, Alan commanded, leading the way. Jenna, walking beside Emery, glanced at her with a mix of curiosity and concern. How does it feel? How does what feel? Emery asked, adjusting her pack. The Aegis, having that kind of power, Jenna said, her eyes searching Emery's face for answers. It's overwhelming, Emery admitted. It's like it's alive, like it knows things I don't, and it's connected to me somehow. Mike, trudging along behind them, overheard the exchange. Doesn't that scare you? Of course it does, Emery said after a moment, but I think it chose me for a reason. We have to figure out what that reason is. As they crested the ridge, the base camp came into view. The sight was both a relief and a new source of tension. Their temporary haven now felt fragile in the face of what they had unleashed. Alan, something's wrong, Jenna said, pointing to the flickering lights of the camp. Their communication array, typically a steady beacon, now sputtered randomly. Get to cover, Alan barked, motioning for the team to spread out. They moved like a well-oiled machine, slipping behind rocks and equipment. Emery, crouched behind a rover, scanned the area. Her eyes locked onto a figure moving near the camp's edge. Not one of theirs. Crona's here, she whispered to herself, feeling a chill run down her spine. The ancient warlord had wasted no time. Alan, what's the plan? Mike called out from his position behind a supply crate. We need to secure the camp and send a distress signal to Earth, Alan replied. Emery, you and Jenna head for the comms tower. Mike, you're with me. We'll provide cover. Nodding, Emery tightened her grip around the Aegis stone, its energy coiling around her like a protective shield. She and Jenna darted from cover to cover, their breaths quick and shallow. Reaching the comms tower, they found it damaged, wires hanging loose and components sparking. Can you fix it? Emery asked, her eyes scanning the area for threats. I can try, Jenna said, pulling out a toolkit and setting to work with rapid efficiency. Emery kept an eye on the surroundings, feeling the tension in the air. A movement caught her attention, a hulking figure in the shadows. Crona stepped forward, his eyes locking onto hers, filled with ancient malice. We meet at last, descendant of the gods! Crona's voice boomed, dripping with disdain. You are not worthy of the Aegis. With a surge of courage, Emery stepped in front of Jenna, shielding her. It chose me, Crona, and I will protect it. A snarl twisted Crona's features, and he lunged. Energy crackled between them as Emery raised the Aegis stone. Waves of force collided, sending dust and debris swirling around them. Alan and Mike emerged from their cover, firing at Crona with their weapons. The ancient warlord deflected the shots effortlessly, his focus solely on Emery. Stay back, Emery shouted, feeling the Aegis pulse stronger in response to her fear. I can handle him. Drawing on the Aegis's power, she pushed back against Crona's assault. The stone flared with a brilliant blue light, creating a barrier between them. Crona's energy pounded against it, but Emery held firm, her resolve hardening like the Martian rock beneath her feet. Jenna, now! She screamed, feeling time slipping through her fingers. Jenna, working with frantic precision, reconnected the final wire. The communication array sprang to life, sending a beacon into the sky. Signal sent! Jenna shouted, her voice barely audible over the crackling energy. Emery felt a surge of triumph, but it was fleeting. Crona's fury was boundless, and the struggle was far from over. As the base camp lights stabilized, casting a steady glow through the Martian dusk, Emery knew their fight was only beginning. They had sent their call for help, but the battle for survival had truly begun. Nightfall on Mars brought a chilling silence that gnawed at the team's nerves. The base camp, now a fragile sanctuary, buzzed with urgent activity. Alien technology and makeshift barricades stood side by side, an uneasy truce between two worlds. Emery stood near the comms tower, the Aegis pulsing faintly against her chest. She could feel its energy intertwining with her own, a strange but comforting sensation. We've bought some time, Alan said, his eyes scanning the perimeter. But we need a plan to deal with Crona. He won't stop until he gets the Aegis. Emery nodded, her mind racing. We need to understand the Aegis more. It's our only chance. Jenna, fixing a transmission terminal, glanced up. I'm working on deciphering the data we pulled from the command center. There might be something useful in there. Do it fast, Alan urged, his voice carrying the weight of command. Mike, see if you can rig some of those drones to work for us. We need all the help we can get. On it, Mike said, already moving towards the disabled drones. Emery followed Jenna to the makeshift lab, where holographic screens displayed streams of alien text. Jenna typed furiously, her fingers a blur over the controls. Here, Jenna said, stopping at the section of the text. It talks about the Aegis's powers. It's not just a weapon, it's a conduit for the energy of its holder. Emery leaned in, scanning the lines. So it amplifies my abilities? Exactly, Jenna replied. And it can do more. If you understand how to channel its energy properly, you can control it, shape it to your will. Alan entered the lab, a look of determination on his face. How's it coming? We're getting there, Emery said. I need to learn how to channel the Aegis properly. Alan nodded, the lines on his face deepening. Do what you have to. We don't have much time. Emery closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. She felt the Aegis stone's pulse matching her heartbeat. Slowly, she began to focus her mind, reaching out with her consciousness. The stone responded, its energy weaving through her, filling her with a sense of ancient power. She opened her eyes, feeling different, stronger, more in control. I think I'm ready. The ground trembled, signaling Crona's approach. The team braced themselves, knowing the inevitable confrontation was at hand. Outside, under the cold light of the Martian moons, Crona materialized from the shadows, his presence a dark storm. His eyes locked onto Emery, filled with incandescent rage. Descendant, Crona's voice boomed. Return the Aegis, and I may spare your companions. Emery stepped forward, the stone's glow intensifying. You'll have to take it by force, Crona snarled, launching a searing bolt of energy. Emery raised her hand, the Aegis flaring brilliantly, absorbing and redirecting the attack. The air crackled with energy, the collision of forces illuminating the night. The team, tucked behind makeshift barriers, watched in awe and fear. Alan gripped his weapon tight, ready to intervene but knowing this was Emery's fight. Emery pushed against Crona's assault, feeling the Aegis's power flowing through her. She concentrated, channeling her will into the stone. Waves of blue light emanated, forming a protective shield around her. Crona roared, his attacks becoming more frantic, more powerful. You are but a pale echo of true power, he bellowed. Emery's eyes blazed with determination. I am more than that. I am the future. With a surge of energy, she focused the Aegis's power, forming a concentrated beam of light. It struck Crona, piercing his defenses. The alien warlord staggered, a look of shock and pain crossing his face. Emery advanced, her energy unwavering. You don't belong here, Crona. Your time is over. Crona, weakened but defiant, launched a final desperate attack. Emery met it head-on, the Aegis absorbing and magnifying her own force. The resulting shockwave sent Crona sprawling, his form flickering between reality and ethereal. As the dust settled, Crona's battered form lay still, the once unstoppable warlord defeated. Emery stood tall, the Aegis's light dimming but still warm against her chest. Alan approached, his expression a mix of pride and relief. You did it. Emery nodded, her breath coming in heavy gasps. We did it, but this is just the beginning. The team gathered around, their faces lit with hope and determination. They had survived the first battle, but the war was far from over. The message to Earth had been sent, and they would need all the allies they could muster for the trials ahead. On the cold, unyielding surface of Mars, they had forged a path forward, guided by the ancient power of the Aegis and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. Sunrise over Mars painted the landscape in hues of deep red and orange. The aftermath of the battle with Crona left the base camp eerily quiet, the air still charged with residual energy from the clash. Yet, amidst the wreckage and the still bodies of alien drones, there was a sense of newfound determination. The Martian wind carried not just the dust, but the promise of survival and defiance. Emery stood on a ridge, looking out at the barren expanse. The Aegis was a steady weight against her chest, its pulse now a calming presence rather than an overwhelming force. She felt different, stronger, yet humbled by the power she wielded. You're up early, Alan's voice broke through her thoughts. He approached, his expression one of quiet respect. Couldn't sleep, Emery admitted, turning to face him. Too much to think about. Alan nodded. We've sent the data back to Earth. Reinforcements and supplies are on their way. It won't be long now. Emery let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Good. We're going to need a lot of help. Mike and Jenna joined them, their faces lit by the soft morning light. Mike had a grin plastered across his face. Can you believe we actually did it? Jenna, ever pragmatic, added, "We won a battle, but there's a lot to do. Crona's defeat doesn't mean we're safe." Alan's voice took on a commander's edge. "We need to prepare. Earth will send more expeditions, more people. This outpost, our home for now, has to be ready." Emery glanced at the scarred surface of the base camp. "We need to secure this place, fortify it, and I need to understand more about the Aegis." She stepped towards the still glowing holograms left by the alien machinery. Each symbol in line seemed to hold a piece of the puzzle. Emery reached out, her fingers skimming the projections. A sequence of images flashed. A guide, a blueprint of combining human ingenuity with alien technology. "Jenna, Mike, look at this," she called them over. "This is how we can enhance our defenses. We can integrate their tech with ours." Jenna's eyes widened as she surveyed the diagrams. "This is incredible. We could advance our technology by decades." Mike, the ever-optimist, clapped his hands together. "Let's get to work. We've got ancient alien tech to mix with our Earth gadgets." Time passed quickly as the team set to their tasks. Emery and Jenna worked closely on deciphering the holograms, translating the ancient knowledge into practical applications. Mike tinkered with the drones, reprogramming them to serve their new purposes. Emery found herself lost in the flow of work, the Aegis providing insights, almost guiding her hands as she made connections between the alien and human tech. It was as if the stone was a teacher, imparting wisdom from ages past. Alan kept everyone on track, his military precision ensuring they didn't miss anything. The team fell into a rhythm, each discovery propelling them forward. After hours of intense labor, Jenna looked up from her terminal, excitement in her eyes. "We've done it! The systems are integrated. This place is a fortress now." Emery nodded, a sense of accomplishment settling over her. "We're ready for whatever comes next." As the Martian sun climbed higher, casting long shadows, the horizon shimmered with approaching shapes, Earth's reinforcements. The promise of help, of new life, and new challenges was becoming a reality. Alan, standing tall, turned to his team. "This is it. We're the vanguard of something bigger than any of us. Let's show them what we've built." The landing crafts touched down, the doors hissing open to reveal fresh faces, each filled with the same mix of determination and trepidation that had marked Emery's team when they first arrived. A voice crackled over the comms, the first of the new arrivals announcing her presence. "This is Commander Reynolds of the Earth Coalition. We're here to help." Emery stepped forward to greet them, the weight of leadership settling onto her shoulders naturally. "Welcome to Mars. Let's get to work." The days that followed were a blur of activity. The new arrivals brought stories, technologies, and skills that meshed with those of the original team. The base grew, both in size and capability, a beacon of human tenacity and ingenuity on a hostile world. Emery found herself at the center of this burgeoning community, guiding them with the wisdom of the Aegis and the hard-earned experience of those initial days of struggle. One evening, as the sky turned a dusky pink, Emery stood at the edge of the camp, the Aegis a warm presence against her heart. Alan approached, a rare smile on his face. "You've done good, Emery." "We've done good," she corrected, a smile of her own breaking through. "But there's still so much to learn, to explore." Alan nodded, looking out at the horizon. "Then, let's get to it." Hand in hand with their new allies, they stepped forward into a future full of unknown challenges, but also limitless possibilities. Together, they had not just survived, but thrived, turning a distant outpost into a bastion of hope and strength. On Mars, under the cold stars of an alien sky, humanity's light had carved out a place for itself, ready for whatever came next.